All right, so this is the schedule for today's webinar. First, I'll share some slides on more so on the younger chemist committee, and then Dr. Zemen will give her talk on the inner life of a first generation scientist, and we will have a Q&A session afterwards, which will be followed by poll and a quick poll and concluding remarks. So, what is the ACS Younger Chemist Committee? So we do have our vision and mission statement. So our vision is younger leaders transforming the world, and our mission is to empower, support, and advocate for all younger chemists as they develop and advance their professional life. If you'd like to learn more about the Younger Chemists Committee, you can visit the link at the bottom, acsycc.org. We do have three goals. The first goal is advocacy, which is create a positive change by representing the positions, contributions, and needs of younger chemists, both within the ACS and beyond. The second is development and advancement, which involve providing tools, resources, programs, and recognition to support younger chemists on diverse professional paths. And our third is community empowerment, foster and support diverse communities of younger chemists. The Younger Chemists Committee is a committee that was chartered by the ACS to represent and advocate for younger chemists. It comprises of younger chemists or chemists under the age of 40. And as you can see from the picture there, we do have about 30 members and associates on the National Younger Chemists Committee, and they represent industry, academia, government, and other entities. And the members and associates were involved in providing content and programs for younger chemists, and also advocating for the needs of younger chemists as well. Some of our programs and activities, and usually at the national meeting, we host YCC symposium, more so specific to career development, such as industry jobs, and also on even getting government jobs. So we also have a variety of different symposium at the national meetings. If you're planning to attend a national meeting this year, feel free to check out some of our symposiums. We do also wellness events at the national meetings as well, such as Zumba, yoga, line dancing, and we do socials, just a way to connect with younger chemists. And also we also do webinars. As you can see, our previous webinars was the inner life of a graduate student and also the inner life of an astrochemist. We also have awards that are giving out to younger chemists. First is the Younger Chemist Leadership Award. And this is an award that is given in recognizing younger chemists that are involved in volunteering, leadership, and also research. And so this is an opportunity for us to help foster the leadership and career development of younger chemists. As you can see from the image on the right, it kind of shows the participants that attended the 2024 Leadership Development Institute last year. We also give out Chem Luminary Awards, and those are generally given to local section younger chemist committees that have organized outstanding events. And we also give the Young Scientist Travel Award, the CIBA YCC Young Scientist Travel Award, and that is given primarily to early career chemists, including postdocs, and it primarily helps the awardee basically help with their expense in attending either a national meeting or a regional meeting. There's also the Priscilla Carney Jones Scholarship, which is given to an undergraduate female in chemistry, or also even in chemical engineering, and that awards kind of help in supporting the recipient attending a national meeting. And lastly, there's the Alan T. Waterman Award as well, which is given for an outstanding researcher. So definitely, visit our website and just keep an eye out on some of the deadlines for upcoming awards. So as I mentioned, we will have a Q&A session. So we asked it during the presentation. You're welcome to ask questions in the chat. We do encourage you to ask questions in the chat. And also after the presentation, we will have an open Q&A session. So now I'll give a brief introduction to our speaker, Dr. Zemen. Dr. Zemen received her PhD in chemistry at the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth in 2024. And our research aimed to explore light-sensitive molecules called porphyrins and how they can affect skin cancer cells when used in photodynamic therapy. Dr. Zeman made history for being the first Black PhD graduate from the UMass Dartmouth Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Dr. Zeman was raised in Germany and also received her bachelor's degree in Germany as well. She's a former chair of the Younger Chemists Committee of the Northeastern local section, and she's an advocate for students with disabilities in higher education, and has recently started a postdoctoral position at the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth as well. And I'll leave it up to you, Dr. Zeman, for thank you again, Dr. Zeman, for being our speaker for tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Julian and Mindel, for having me and for organizing this seminar talk. And I'm very excited about it. I will share my slide. Give me 1 second. Oh, no. Okay. Can you all see the slide?
Yes, but we can see your notes. So you didn't want that to happen.
Okay, hold on. Thank you for saying that. I think I have to go in here. Begin. Can you see my slides without my notes?
Yes, I can't see your notes.
Yeah,
but you're on the last slide, I think.
Oh yeah, no, I think I have to go for, yeah, I just, all right, do you see the first slide, a day in the life of a first generation scientist? All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome, I will close it. I just want to say, if somehow my audio is not so good, please interrupt me so I can adjust it. All right, so good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction, Julian. I'm thrilled to be here to talk about a topic that is both personal and I believe incredibly important for the future of academia. So I will talk about a day in the life of a first generation scientist. So as a first generation chemist, a first generation scientist, and the first Black chemist to earn a PhD from the University of Massachusetts on the Dartmouth campus last year in 2024, my journey through academia has been anything but conventional. It's been filled with a lot of challenges that I will talk about that at times seemed overwhelming. But it has been also a journey of discovery, growth, friendship, and resilience. Today, I want to share with you what a day looked like, especially doing undergraduate and graduate, doing my undergraduate and graduate studies, and throughout my journey, and some of the lessons I've learned along the way. So here I've outlined a few key areas that I'll be diving into. Pointer. So first, the first generation experience, navigating undergraduate and graduate studies, a little bit of research and some of the research overview. And then, of course, I will talk about how I overcame the challenges and obstacles, the role mentorships and networks played during my research studies and academic career, some of my advocacy work, and also a little bit about how I leverage social media for professional growth, especially during the pandemic years where everybody was at home, right? And how you can use it for your professional growth. And then I want to empower the next generation. So I hope we have people here who want to get into science or get into chemistry. So that listen closely when I talk about empowerment and what can we do to help. And then I will share some of my final thoughts. So before we dive deeper into the first generation experiences, let me tell you more about my background. So I was born and raised in Stuttgart, which is in the southwest part of Germany. So Germany is right here in Europe. But my roots trace back to Tigray, which is in northern Ethiopia, which is in East Africa. And my family came to Germany as refugees back in the late 1970s, early 80s. So my family's been living in Germany since then. And during my time in Germany, I received my Bachelor of Science degree at the University of Stuttgart. And I pursued advanced studies in the US and received my PhD in chemistry and biochemistry at UMass on the Dartmouth campus under the guidance of Dr. Emmanuel Ojadi. And this period was crucial in developing my research skills and academic focus. And yeah, I'm a first generation, not just college graduate, but also high school graduate. My family were farmers, so they never went to school. So I will talk about those kind of challenges. And so as the first in my family to graduate from high school and college, I've had to navigate difficulties of academia without a roadmap and learning to overcome obstacles along the way. And as mentioned, I'm the first, Black PhD graduate in chemistry at the University of Massachusetts on the Dartmouth campus. So achieving this milestone is not just a personal triumph, but also it symbolizes not just my success, but also the breaking of barriers for those who come after me. So I'm also a passionate STEM advocate, especially for disabled students and other minority students. So as we delve deeper into the theme of today's talk, it's important to define what it means to be a first generation student. So the definition, a first generation student is typically defined as a student whose parents or guardians have not completed a 4-year college degree. And this definition provided by the US Department of Education highlights the unique position of first generation students who often navigate the difficulties of higher education without the guidance or support that comes from having family members who have previously gone through the same experience. So I guess I have my first question. I just want to sense who's in the room or who's in the Zoom meeting today. I want to ask who in here is a first generation student or chemist or scientist. If you are, please raise your hand so I can see. Oh, okay, quite a couple. Let me go down. All right, awesome. So you probably will, probably agree with most of the a couple of things what I will say. And for those of you who are not first generation, you can understand how usual first generation students deal with when they enter academic spaces. So for many of us who are first generation students, being first generation means more than just being first in our family to attend college. It means breaking new ground, facing challenges, and often setting a precedent for those who come after us. So it's about navigating uncharted territory, not just academically, with limited academic preparation, but also social, cultural, and financial challenges as well. And I will talk about when I was dealing with in my undergraduate, but also graduate studies in more detail. So now I'll talk about my undergraduate studies experiences and the challenges I faced. So first of all, I never thought about studying chemistry or entering science in the first place. I didn't know a chemist or a scientist in my family or in my friend circle. But I was lucky that I had a really awesome high school chemistry teacher back when I was living in Germany. And he encouraged me, his name was Karl-Heinz Roth, and he encouraged me to join, while I was still a high school student, to join an undergraduate chemistry class as a guest student while I was still in high school. So I attended 2 seminars or 2 classes, and I enjoyed it. And I connected with other chemists, some of the professors, and I asked questions about, what are the expectations, and how you deal with the application process, So I eventually then I applied to the chemistry program at the University of Stuttgart, and I was luckily accepted. So as an undergraduate student, while being accepted, I faced other challenges. The first challenge was for me. I had difficulty understanding academic expectation and navigating college systems. For example, I had peers in my class with college professors as parents, and I did not. So I had to learn more to keep up. Another challenge was a social challenge. So I felt at times isolated from some of my peer groups due to culture and social differences. Also, I did it in Germany, in Stuttgart, and I was the only Black chemist in the entire chemistry building or chemistry department. So sometimes that kind also felt isolating, and that was also a challenge for me. I will talk later how I overcame that. But yeah, that's the second challenge I faced in my undergraduate. The third one was financial challenges. Even though some of you probably will be surprised or not surprised, in Germany, we don't really have tuition costs. So my undergraduate studies at the University of Stuttgart was free, basically, but the cost to live there was high, where I grew up in Stuttgart. So I had to seek out other outside jobs, and I struggled to balance work and my studies. I had, so the question now is, how did I overcome those struggles, right? So I remember in my freshman year, in my first semester, I was sitting in a cafeteria, and I got, I was having all my books, trying to read over the notes, and I was lucky that someone was also sitting in the cafeteria, and they knew I was also a chemist because of my books, and I got connected to a chemistry student who was a senior. It was in a senior year, and she helped me a lot, especially in my first 2-3 semesters. And she was also a minority student, but she was from Turkey. And we both could relate with some of our lived experiences. And she eventually became one of my biggest mentors during my undergraduate studies, and also a friend. Also, what helped me was I became a member of the German Chemical Society, which provided me with a support network and connected me with my peers nationally. And third, I overcame my financial challenges by becoming an RA, which means research assistant, for the Institute for Sanitary Engineering, Water Quality, and Solid Waste Management, also at the University of Stuttgart. And and you can basically see here the view from above to the institute where I worked at. So I also worked at the high school as a math and German instructor, which was awesome for me. So I could not only be a student at the University of Stuttgart, but also be on the other side and teach students math and German, and that also helped me in my teaching skills. And I was very grateful for those opportunities. So that's how I overcame my financial challenges. So then I was done, right? I graduated with a bachelor's degree. I was, not unfortunately, but because of all the work, the jobs, and classes, and research studies, I was kind of burned out after my undergraduate degree. So I took a gap year, but I continued teaching in high schools, and I was still an RA, and I tried to transition into graduate school during this time. And for me, it was clear I wanted to study abroad, somewhere where I could speak English, because I learned English. I would say right before my graduate school, like I would say 70 years ago, I would say, and so the fact that I can speak with you in English, that's awesome, because I always was, that was not my first language. But yeah, so for me, it was important that I study abroad, learn a new culture, a new language. So I was introduced to all the exchange opportunities by the international office at the University of Stuttgart. And I decided to apply to the partner university of the University of Stuttgart. And at that time, it was University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, for my chemistry graduate program. So, but however, the application process for me was very challenging, as expected. But luckily, it worked out in the end, because in my gap year, I decided to go to the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth campus and meet the program director of the chemistry program and talk to him oh, I really want to go into the school. What do I need to do? And guide me throughout the process. And I'm very, very lucky that his name was Dr. Yugam Zhu. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he helped me a lot to get into the graduate program at UMass. But yeah, then I got in and I successfully was admitted with a stipend that helped me with my financial costs and my living expenses. I also remember I dealt with some imposter syndrome and having feelings of self-doubt. Because I thought, oh, it's a new, I'll get to that challenges, I think in the next slide, and also having feelings of self-doubt. And furthermore, since I planned to move to a new continent or to the US from Germany, I dealt with balancing family responsibilities with academic goals. So transition to graduate school in a new country felt a little bit like pushing a big ball uphill to me. But I kept going forward, right? So in graduate school, I landed in the US. I started the program. I joined Dr. Emmanuel Ojadi, Dr. Ojadi's photochemistry research lab at UMass on the Dartmouth campus. And my research was a big title, but yeah, it's basically a comprehensive in vitro investigation to understand the phototoxic properties of protein derivatives on tetrahymena thermophila cells and tumor cells. I will give you, I think in the next slides, some of the overview and some of the things what I did on a day-to-day basis, but I will not go too deep into it. And if you have questions throughout my research, I have my contact information at the end, so you can contact me or you can ask questions at the end. Yeah, so this is a picture of some of our lab members at that time. This is me, that's Emily, that's Grace, and that's my professor. So in the next slides, I will talk about my some of the overview of my research. So you have a little chemistry in this in this seminar. Before then, I talk about the challenges I faced throughout my graduate school, and yeah. So this is the overall goal was to create photosensitizers such as porphyrin derivatives for photodynamic therapy. I will explain photodynamic therapy in the, I think in the second slide from this slide, and tell you exactly what it is. So here's the research synthesis roadmap, basically. I started with an aldehyde and then tried to get my first non-water soluble porphyrin. I modified it to a water soluble porphyrin, and then I inserted zinc and copper into the middle of the ring, the porphyrin ring, and then I tested its phototoxic effects on different studies. One study was the tetrahymena thermophila cells, which I got luckily from Cornell University. And then I did another big study was the human skin carcinoma cells from the lungs and from the scalp from University of Pennsylvania. And then I also did some quenching studies. That's just an overview. But now I asked myself, what is photodynamic therapy, right? So to explain it, that's a nice diagram. So a photosensitizer is given to a patient either orally, intravenously, or as a cream. The photosensitizer then concentrates in the area containing the cancerous tissue after some time, and then it will get activated by light. And ideally, after some time, the carcinoma is selectively destroyed. And the light source is typically a laser for those processes. So I asked myself when I was in the lab, what are the success of photodynamic therapy? And it depends on several critical factors. One is the light source. Then, of course, you need a photosensitizer, and then you need, of course, the presence of oxygen in the tissue. And each of these components play a vital role in the effectiveness of photodynamic therapy. And the choice of light source is crucial for activating the photosensitizer and to produce reactive oxygen species or singlet oxygen that are deadly to tumor cells, which we want, right? And then we need a light source. Usually, again, I use lasers or light emitting diodes like LEDs. And now to the photosensitizer. The photosensitizer are chemicals basically that upon activation by light can convert oxygen, which are in the cells, into singlet oxygen. And the design and development of effective photosensitizers are crucial to improving photodynamic therapy treatments. So the most promising and exciting photosensitizers are porphyrin molecules, right? Because they absorb light in the visible region. And the visible region is between 500 nanometers to 800 nanometers. And of course, I mentioned it, but I will mention it again, you need oxygen. Without oxygen, this treatment doesn't work. All right, this is basically the chemistry behind some of the studies I did. This is basically explaining the Jablonski diagram that explains the photodynamic therapy process. Basically having electron excited to an excited singlet state. Through the intersystem crossing, it can get to the excited triplet state. That can go down to the ground singlet state, and that energy can be used to transform triplet oxygen to singlet oxygen. That's what we want, right? So this is a molecular orbital diagram for maybe some of you remember still from your classes. Basically, it's flipping one electron and joining the other orbitals. So this state of the singlet oxygen is very reactive. And that's what we want if we want to destroy the cancer cells with photodynamic therapy. So again, what are great photosensitizers? So I mentioned they are porphyrins. Those are how they look like, some of the examples. And porphyrins are a group of hydroxylic macroorganic compounds with four pyrrole rings connected via methane bridges. And the parent porphyrin is porphine. And one of the best known families of porphyrin complexes is heme, right? That's the pigment in the red blood cells and with iron in the center. And another metal complex that occurs naturally is chlorophyll. It can be found in plants. Chlorophyll is essential in photosynthesis and allowing plants to absorb energy from light. So those we already have them in nature. So my question was when I was in lab, okay, how can I synthesize those kind of porphyrins that are suitable for photodynamic therapy? So I'm not go in detail what I did, but basically I had an aldehyde and I reacted it with a pyrrole and I got my first non-water soluble porphyrin. And then I tried to successfully got the water-soluble porphyrin with the help of methyl iodide. Then I inserted zinc with the help of zinc iodide. So I got a zinc porphyrin. And then instead of having zinc, I used copper acetate to got a copper porphyrin. We have a variety of different porphyrins. Again, those are all water soluble. It's important to have it water soluble because for the photodynamic therapy process, it needs to be in aqueous solutions. All right. Okay, then I also had a lot of BLR's aggregation study was conducted to investigate the absorption spectra and to see if they are characteristic of the monomeric forms of the porphyrins I synthesized. And based on those data, indicates that minimal or no aggregation of those synthesized porphyrin, water-soluble porphyrin, was there over the concentration range tested. So yeah, I basically, I'm here now. So basically got my non-water soluble porphyrin, made it water soluble, inserted metals, and then did a big study on testing them on cells, first on tetrahymena cells, then on human cells, and then I did a quenching study. But I will not go into that right now. If some of you have questions, you can ask me afterwards or even follow up. I have my email address at the end to know more about my studies. So now you've got a little overview what I did on a day-to-day basis. It's basically in a dark room to test those cells with my porphyrin to see if they really have control groups. It's a real big study that I did, all in vitro though. All right, so I faced a lot of challenges during that time. So one challenge was research expectation. So meeting demands of graduate level research was a challenge for me, especially in the beginning. Then time management, balancing coursework, research, and personal life. Especially in the first 2 years, usually have coursework, and you also try to figure out which lab to join. To manage all of that, being in a different country, it was a challenge for me. So then I also faced a lot of imposter syndrome in overcoming self-doubt and building confidence. That was also a challenge for me. And then financial stress and managing cost of graduate education. Even though I got a stipend and that covered most of the living expenses, that's a very minimal salary that you get, right? So you have to be mindful when you enter graduate school, especially in a different country. You have to be mindful of the cost you will have and how much you will get for a stipend. Usually PhD students get a stipend or some kind of scholarship or some kind of support from their professor, so they can cover the living expenses. But it's not very high, so at least in my university, it was not that high. So that was also a big challenge, how to finance the summer, and if my professor doesn't have research grants, and those kind of challenges that I faced. That's a huge challenge. But yeah, then also isolation and coping with loneliness and maintaining mental health, because when you're in the lab all the time trying to advance your studies, you're alone sometimes, right? I was sleeping in the lab sometimes. So that's also isolation, especially during the COVID years and the COVID pandemic, which complicated the whole process. And yeah. And then a challenge was also maintaining relationships with family and friends can be difficult due to time constraints and also having a time difference. Many of my family members live not just in Europe, but other parts of the world. That's also a challenge. And to keep and to balance all of it was for me a challenge. Yeah, and then the work-life balance, maintaining a healthy balance between academic responsibilities and personal life. Then also was difficult for me was the sheer volume of work in graduate school can be overwhelming, especially in the first semester. And then many of us balance multiple roles. We are graduate students, we are researchers, we are teaching assistants. Yes, I was a teaching assistant. I was a research assistant some semesters. And then at the end, I was a teaching fellow. So I was dealing with a lot of students. Being a researcher and managing that was also at times difficult. And then some career path uncertainty. Deciding on a clear career path after graduate school can be challenging, especially if you're still in graduate school. It was a challenge for me, particularly in fields with limited academic positions. And then also it was a challenge with access to resources and limited access to research materials, funding challenge, and other resources that sometimes delayed progress. That was also a challenge for me. So how did I overcome graduate study? How did I overcome graduate studies challenges? So one big one, and I cannot emphasize that enough, is mentorship and finding and working with mentors who can guide you through graduate school, or if you're an undergraduate, through undergraduate, or any other career paths you're in, you need mentors. For me, it was my awesome PhD advisor, Dr. Emmanuel Ojadi. And then asking for help and reaching out to others. Like in the beginning, I didn't do that, but after some time, I felt, you will see maybe someone responds to your email, and you would be surprised how many are actually willing to help, especially if they see you as genuine and you really want to get to the next career place. If let's say 10, if you reach out to 10 people and 3 people responded, that's a success. So that's how you should look at it, and don't focus on the 7 who haven't responded. So I asked a lot for help in reaching out to others, and then also social networks through professional organization and committees and networking helped me. Again, I did it in the height of the global COVID-19 pandemic, so a lot of people were at home, so we use social networks to connect and join networking opportunities and organizations. Also, professional development. I joined a lot of ACS, American Chemical Society events, NOBASHE, and local chapter events and local networking events that helped me get connected to people who do similar research that helped me in my graduate studies. So here, for example, I'm at the IUPA conference in Paris, France, presenting my research. That was an awesome experience for me to see Paris and also to connect with peers who do similar research and collaborate. And I can only emphasize enough, if you have the opportunity and the funding to go to a conference, I would definitely recommend you go, because you don't know who you will meet there that can help you, or you can help them. It goes both ways for their career. Yes, and then also through academic collaborations, right? What also helped me was self-care, importance of mental health, and work-life balance, and seeking support when needed. So in that regard, I do a lot of back when I was in graduate studies, I did a lot of exercising. I used to swim a lot. Now, I'm in a transitional process, but I used to swim a lot I used to be a competitive swimmer. So I can only emphasize enough that you also exercise. It doesn't have to be swimming, but some kind of activity where you can do regularly that helps you, not just your mind, but also your body. Also, this was a local YCC conference, which I attended with some of my peers. This was a graduate school panel discussion to connect with other graduate students and talk to undergraduate students about our experiences. And it also provided me with connected me with graduate students, so we all could help each other and navigate graduate studies. And then here, this was at my university. It was a Sigma Psi event with my professor and some of my peers, also supporting my university's mission when it comes to conferences and research. And I was very lucky for all the opportunities I got from UMass Dartmouth. And then, of course, here, since last year, I started golfing with my partner. I think he's in the chat. And yeah, so he's a big support for me, and I'm very, very grateful. All right, so next slide. Okay, so now I also want to highlight the specific role of mentorship and networks, because it helped me so much throughout my career. And I was very lucky to have such a supportive PhD advisor. This is my professor, Dr. Emmanuel Ojadi, and you will get at the end why I'm emphasizing him so much in this talk. So yeah, also what helped me was my local YCC chapter in Boston, where I was active for the past years, first as a career chair and then as a chair. I also want to thank NOBOCHE, the National Organization for the Professional Advancement of Black Chemists and Chemical Engineers, for all their support, because they provide minority students, specifically Black chemists, with opportunities to get travel grants to their conferences, and those kind of conferences help me get exposure to peers who do similar research and will also have a similar background and experiences. So that was very helpful to me. Also, I want to specifically highlight the past NESAC chair, Dr. Patrick Gordon, for all his mentorship. I also want to highlight our very own, from our own chapter, the NESAC, a local ACS chapter in the New England area, the current American Chemical Society president, Dr. Dorothy Phillips, for all her support. Every time I see her, I'm always, have some small talk, and she provides me with some feedback, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And yeah, I also want to thank some other organizations where I was connected to chemists, and was, for example, the Black in Chemistry organization, and then where another organization where I'm an ally, and is the Disabled and Higher Education organization. Then I also want to thank my own university, UMass Dartmouth, for all their support, especially the chemistry department. So all these organizations and people and mentors helped me in my journey. So I can only recommend you all get involved, whether it's your local YCC chapter or other organization you're interested in. Whatever passion you're into, join those organizations, because and you will be surprised how much of an opportunity that is to get involved with people who are part of an organization that you're interested in, and you can learn a lot from them. And maybe you can lead or volunteer in those organizations to get the experiences and get connected. So yeah, my overall theme for this slide is you're not alone in your journey. There are people out there that are willing to help you in your journey. So of course, I did some other advocacy work, not in my first 2 years of my graduate school, but more towards the middle end. So I was humbled and grateful that over the last couple of years, I was able to work as an advocate for multiple STEM organizations. I think I mentioned the YCC work. I also, was one of the organizers for the Disabled in Higher Education Month, organizers where we try to amplify students who are disabled to get to advocate for them to get all the accommodation that they need. Also, I was part of the Black in Chemistry Week organization where I was an organizer to amplify the needs for Black chemists in 2021. I was also very involved with my UMass Dartmouth Graduate Student Senate as a senator and also as a treasurer. And I think I saw AJ, I'm not sure if she's there, but she used to be the UMass Graduate Student Senator President. So I'm very grateful that I saw her in the Zoom call today. Yeah, but she was also one of the people that I constantly, can always reach. I can always reach out to her for support, and I'm very grateful for her. And also since last year, I was one of the United Nations delegate for youth education in New York City. So I'm also very grateful for that. But yeah, you probably think, oh my God, that's a lot, right? But those kind of opportunities like fueled me with passion, and that helped me actually in my research when I was in lab, because I always felt, okay, this is then more organized, because when I was in lab and when I was out of the lab and when I was doing all the other advocacy work, so it forced me to basically be more organized, and that helped me. All right. So quickly about how we can use social media, especially during the COVID years, but it's still to this day, for your own professional growth. So let's use, for example, LinkedIn, right? So I would definitely, if you don't have a LinkedIn, I would definitely recommend getting a LinkedIn account that is up to date, that highlights your teaching experience or any skills that you have, research, publication, and then engage with the academic community and join conversation on trending topics in your discipline by using relevant hashtags or engaging in discussions, and also share your work that you published, and then also network strategically, connect with your peers. You can use social media to connect with other graduate students, postdocs, early career researchers, and learn from them. You can cold email people, cold email professors, and again, there are people out there that will respond and use that opportunity. All right, also attending conferences, and then seek collaborations, very important. Reach out to potential collaborators. If you admire someone's work, don't hesitate to reach out, even if it's social media. I mean, I did during the COVID years. I reached out to multiple people, and we ended up working together, whether it was advocacy work or whether it was research related. So use all the opportunities that you have, and they are free. Usually social media, it's free, right? I mean, unless you want to have the premium versions, but it's free, right? So, and then lastly, finally, the advocate for science communication, engage with the public, use social media to communicate the importance of your research to the general public, and making science or chemistry more accessible and understood, especially in a time like this. Okay, so how can we empower the next generation of chemists, scientists? So we need more mentorship programs. I'm only chemistry or science because of my high school chemistry teacher in Germany. And then I got into grad school because Dr. Yu Guangzhou helped me. And then I finished my PhD because of my PhD advisor. So I always had someone who was willing to help. So I ask you all to seek a mentor or mentors, not just one. And so one-on-one mentoring, we need to connect students with experienced chemists or experienced science who can offer guidance or advice and support throughout the academic or professional journeys. We also need peer mentoring. So people who are the same age as you or the same level when it comes to the science field, and encourage relationships between senior and junior students to foster a supportive community. We also need more research opportunities, especially for undergraduate research programs. We need to provide research opportunities early in students' academic career and to spark their interest and also build a foundational skill set. We also need access to resources and funding opportunities. We need more scholarships, more grants and fellowships to support students financially and reduce some of the challenges or some of the barriers to participation in research and conferences, because far too often students want to participate in conferences, but there is a fee and people cannot pay for it. So especially for first generation who don't have family members who gone through the same journey, it's usually they have no support, and we need to make sure that funding is available. And I'm glad Julian mentioned that there are funding opportunities, like he mentioned the YCC travel grant. So you take advantage of it and apply, right? And don't wait until someone tells you. Just look actively for those funding opportunities. And then we also need more professional development. We need more training in essential skills such as scientific writing. We need more training for project management, especially if you go to grad school, and also data analysis. We need more career counseling, also networking opportunities, and then also encourage people to participate in organizations just like the American Chemical Society or the Royal Society of Chemistry or any other organization that you feel passionate about joining. And also, we need to have more outreach programs, especially to K-12 students to inspire interest in chemistry or science and the broader community. We also need more public science communication, so encourage chemists or scientists to engage in science communication through blogs, social media, and public talks to make science accessible and exciting to the public. And then finally, we need more global collaboration. There are people all around the globe that like to collaborate. So we need to facilitate exchange programs, collaboration with other institutions abroad to expose students or scientists to different scientific culture and practices. And then finally, we need to be more mindful when it comes to mental health and well-being, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic. And we need to implement programs that focus on mental health, stress management, especially in grad school, and be mindful of work-life balance to ensure that we all thrive in academic or whatever career journey you're in. All right, so this is some of the points where I would I think we need to address or we need to do more. And I put some of the funding resource database for PhD from the Johns Hopkins University for early career researchers, also for postdoctoral researchers I found just by Googling. So take advantage of all these resources that are available to you. So final thoughts, we need more empowerment, right? Support and mentorship are vital for nurturing the next generation of chemists or scientists. We need more collaboration, local, statewide, national, and also global. As a global citizen, or I consider myself a global citizen, we need more also global collaboration and building strong networks and partnerships that drives innovation and progress. And then finally, embrace new ideas and approaches to overcome challenges that make an impact to the science community and the overall public. Okay, so now I have a little update because I think Julian mentioned that I'm a postdoc. I just started as a chemistry teaching professor at the University of at Simmons University at the chemistry and physics department. I'm very grateful for that opportunity. So if some of you are in the Boston area and you would like to visit Simmons or you want to get involved with the program or want to say hi, please reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to give you a tour and show you, the surroundings of Boston. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me. And the last slide, I have my contact information. So yeah, this is just an acknowledgement of all the people, not all the people, but some of the people that helped me, especially in grad school. I want to thank them all, especially my professor and mentor, Dr. Emmanuel Ojadi, all my committee members and supporters, of course, my former university, UMass Dartmouth, and the chemistry and biochemistry department. I want to thank the American Chemical Society for for all the support that I got throughout the years, especially the Younger Chemist Committee. I also was, Julia mentioned the Leadership Award, and I was lucky to get one of those awards, and I was happy to, get connected to other younger chemists, and I was very grateful for that opportunity. So thank you for the Younger Chemist Committee. And then lastly, I want to thank the NOBACHE, the National Organization for the Professional Advancement of Black Chemists and Chemical Engineers, that also provided me with support and encouragement throughout the years, and all the other funding sources and organization. I also want to thank my local chapter, the NESAC, Northeastern Section American Chemical Society, for all their support. And yeah, I'm very grateful. And this is the last slide. This is why I mentioned my professor so many times. It's because I did my PhD defense last year in May. And he passed away exactly 2 months after, in July. So last year was probably the most challenging year for me personally. And everybody who knows me very well, who knows that I was struggling the past year, because he was not just a mentor, he was a friend, a PhD advisor, my biggest cheerleader. So a little bit about him to honor him. He did his PhD in chemistry from the University of Ife in Nigeria, and then did his master and PhD in chemistry from Brandeis University in Massachusetts in Dr. Henry Lynch's research lab. He then conducted postdoctoral research studies at MIT, and then joined UMass Dartmouth, first as a lecturer in 1987, and then became assistant professor, and then was promoted as professor in 1996. And that's where I met him, at UMass Dartmouth. And because of him, I'm here and graduated. This was both of us at the commencement last year. We were both happy. This was the last time I've seen him in person. So I want to take this opportunity to honor him, because he was the biggest mentor for me. So yeah, this is a quote from his family during the funeral event, where I was also invited. A rare gem, a heart of gold, a legacy of light, teaching us to make the world shine brighter. That's why I'm so into teaching as well, because he was a great teacher and a great mentor, and I learned that from him. So with that, I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you for the YCC for inviting me, for organizing this event. I really appreciate. Yeah, this is my contact. My email and my LinkedIn, I put even my Instagram, even my Facebook, Twitter and X information if you want to follow up with anything. And I'm more happy to answer any questions you have.
I have a question. It's more so about your undergrad year.
Sure.
Hopefully you did I came in late, so hopefully you got to experience like internships, like working in internships in your undergrad. Would you have any tips on trying to find one in the chemistry department or area?
Yes, so I did my undergraduate at the University of Stuttgart, and I remember at my university's website, they had a career link where they offered internship opportunities where you can look at. But I will definitely look. It depends what you're interested in, what kind of, if you're in pharmaceutical companies, or if you're whatever you're interested in. Like I will look. For example, LinkedIn is a good site where they post sometimes jobs, or Indeed, or you have to go into the specific company you really want to do your internship, and they post their openings, the internship opportunities right on their website. So I will definitely take advantage of that, and also talk to your professor, because sometimes some of the jobs are not posted, unfortunately. So you really have to know. Some of the professors provide research opportunities during the summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be aware of that. If you're interested in that, depends what you want to do, and then I will go from there. If you're interested in pharmaceutical or other fields, it will be a different path. So if you're interested in research, you have to identify what kind of research, and then you have to see who's working in that research, and then connecting with a professor. Maybe they have opportunities, or they know someone in industry that provides internship opportunities. But usually they are some of them are posted, Indeed, LinkedIn, I think Glassdoor, and just look on Google, whatever thing I want. It's like open position. I put Massachusetts or wherever state you are in, or every country, and then sometimes the job the job openings list up, and then you can follow the link.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Definitely use Google.
Yes.
Sure.
Got you. Thank you.
Sure.
I think we probably have time for one more question. And also I'll launch the poll if the participants can fill out the poll quickly.
Yes, and also this is recorded, so if some of you came later, you will get the opportunity to watch from the beginning, or if you have any other question, you can always email me and I follow up.
So there was a question that came in with the registration. I'm going to read one of them. Is how to develop a growth mindset as a young chemist quite early in industry setting.
Oh, okay. You basically have to accept that you will do mistakes and fail. Like I didn't mention that when I'm a photochemist, right? When I got my first cells, it didn't work out 5-6 times in a row. They just died. I didn't know how to do it. So you need this mindset that failing is okay in academic settings, even in industry. When you're new, you learn, right? So you need to be open-minded and connect with people who already do the things that you want to do in the company or in that on college campuses, wherever you're interested in. Connect with people who already do the things that you want to do, and I will follow up with them, ask them for advice, and have an open mindset, and expose yourself to environments where sometimes you feel uncomfortable, where you join conferences and join meetings and engage and learn from others who are already 1, 2, 5, 10 years ahead of you, and learn from them. Yeah.
I think we have time for just one more question, and we'll end it all for tonight.
I guess I'll ask another interesting question that came in. What is one thing that you learned about yourself in grad school that surprised you?
Oh, that I have more, that that's a good question. That I can, deal with a lot of lonely nights and a lot of struggles and a lot of failings and still be okay at the end. It's not the end of the world if something doesn't go the way you planned it, and that's okay. So to have a positive mindset and never giving up, and being persistent, and yeah, that's why. So in the beginning, back then I would have thought, oh my God, I don't even know if I would have ended PhD, to be honest with you. Now that I know what the struggle, but now looking back, I'm surprised, and that I handled it. I struggled, but I worked around it to get to the finish line. That's very important. To don't forget the finish line and finish strong. And yeah, and it's okay to make mistakes and learn from them, and move forward.
All right, thank you again, Dr. Zemen, for a great talk. For those that are interested in the younger chemist community, you can visit our website at acs.ycc.org. You can also follow us on social media. And if you're planning to attend any of the national or regional meetings, you're always welcome to join and participate in some of our symposium and social events. And we thank you and Thank you all for attending, and we hope you have a wonderful evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you're joining from. So we just thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, YCC, for having me and for organizing this event.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mendel.
Thank you, Mendel. Yep.